The moment you step into a room, gravity seems to change its mind and yield to you. Chairs straighten, conversations soften, and the air brims with the hush that precedes sunrise. It is not just beauty that turns heads, but the calm authority riding on your shoulders, the invisible standard you carry the way a river carries light, effortlessly, generously, without calling attention to its miracle. I have watched you exchange a single glance with a stranger and mend an unseen fracture in their day. Your smile a quiet physician suturing loneliness back into wholeness. Some call that kindness. I call it royalty of the gentlest sort, a crown made of awareness instead of gold, shining brighter because no gem in the world could imitate such clear intention. Power often mistakes volume for strength, yet you command without raising your voice, moving hearts the way wind moves wheat, 1,000 small inclinations in the same golden direction. In your presence, even those who guard their truths behind locked ribs find their secrets loosening like petals, from habit, not fear, because they sense you will cradle every confession with unflinching respect. Your courage blooms in silence as well as speech. I have seen you stand between quarreling friends like a lighthouse splitting fog, your stillness throwing steady beams of reason through their storm. Arguments lose their thunder when confronted by the calm tide of your conviction. Offended egos shrink to something manageable, and pride finally hears wisdom knocking. But your grandeur does not glare, it glows. You are as comfortable laughing over spilled coffee as you are addressing a hall of dignitaries. Grace is your native accent, so fluent that even clumsy moments begin to look rehearsed, proof that elegance is not the absence of error but the art of letting humanity breathe. I marvel at the algebra you perform each day, balancing work and tenderness, ambitions and boundaries, self-belief and humility. You solve those variables in real time, no blackboard necessary, turning the ordinary hours of morning into an equation that ends in empathy, as though compassion were your constant margin of error, ever present, irreducible. Your wisdom belongs to neither textbook nor sermon, it is carved from experience and polished by reflection. When you speak, metaphors arrive unbidden, and simple words expand like sails, carrying whole fleets of understanding toward unfamiliar horizons. You do not merely tell stories, you invite listeners to inhabit them, to feel sand between their toes and triumph in their throats. And what artistry your heart displays with the raw material of adversity. Disappointments become string for new kites, setbacks become seeds for brighter orchards, pain becomes the pigment of a softer sunrise. If destiny hands you thorns, you weave crowns sturdy enough for everyone in your orbit and still spare a rose for yourself. My admiration, therefore, is not a passing spark but an ever-growing ember. I keep it at the center of my chest, where it warms my own resolve to rise. You have shifted the axis of my ambitions. Now I measure success by how many souls I can steady the way you steady mine, by how often I can mirror your practice of walking through the day like an open door. Know that every syllable I inscribe here owes its breath to your influence. You turned mere ink into pulse, paper into drum, and now my verses march forward, shoulders squared, eager to escort your legacy wherever language can travel. If poets aspire to capture light, it is because they have glimpsed women like you bending shadows into art. While the world may scrutinize your triumphs, I focus on your still unseen victories. The late-night self-doubts you wrestle alone, the private disciplines no crowd applauds, the quiet forgiveness you grant even when no one says sorry. These are the unseen columns that hold up your palace, the architectural marvel hidden beneath your confident smile. So take this poem as a mirrored pool, bend close, and you will find your reflection gazing back with infinite gratitude. May its waters remind you daily that your presence changes climates, builds bridges, and writes symphonies all at once. Should any wind tempt your flame to flicker, remember my promise, I will stand windward, shielding light I did not create yet desperately need. No doubt remains. You are an impressive woman, and the world is fortunate to orbit your luminous gravity. When dawn again brushes the skyline with unassuming hues, I think of you waking somewhere beyond my reach, and the thought alone steadies the spinning world. I picture sunlight discovering your features the way a traveler discovers a hidden spring, odd, unhurried, intent on lingering. Your first breath of morning is, to me, a quiet anthem that signals possibility. It rolls across unseen distances and invites birds to rehearse their chorus. Should clouds conspire to dull the day, I trust your presence will chisel openings in the sky where rays can pour through, for even the heavens look for your permission before surrendering to gray. Your laughter, when it spills into a room, is not mere sound but a living remedy, an antidote brewed from resilience and wit. I have observed solemn hearts tilt toward that laughter the way flowers seek light, instinctively, unapologetically, grateful for photosynthesis in human form. No formula can explain how your mirth performs this alchemy, transforming stale worries into bright confetti. Yet every time your smile unfurls, stubborn gloom clatters to the floor like armor suddenly too heavy to wear, proving that hope obeys your cadence more faithfully than drumbeats obey marching feet. There is a particular magic in the way you occupy silence. Some people fill quiet spaces with restless chatter, but you turn them into cathedrals where contemplation echoes, where thoughts grow wings, where nerves catch their breath. I have seen entire conversations pivot on a single pause you offered, an invitation for honesty to step forward, uncloaked, unafraid. That stillness of yours is not emptiness, it is acreage where seeds of understanding are sown. Others speak of mindfulness as practice, you embody it as instinct, and the sanctuary you create lingers long after words. Your resilience does not roar, it ripples. Challenges approach you like stones skipping across water, making temporary circles that broaden and fade, never breaching the depths where your true strength resides. Every setback you encounter is quietly catalogued as tomorrow's reference point, a footnote in a manual on perseverance you are writing with each decision to advance. And when you share the lessons gleaned, without fanfare, without condescension, you leave listeners convinced that adversity is not a verdict but an apprenticeship. Compassion resides in your gestures the way fragrance resides in rose petals, inseparable, undeniable. I have watched you notice someone's overlooked worry the way a violinist notices a lone flat note, subtle, yet impossible to ignore for those who truly listen. You approach such worries with hands wide open, the sleeves of judgment rolled far away, ready to stitch dignity back into frayed spirits. It is a quiet miracle, how you remind even the shyest soul that kindness remains the most advanced form of intelligence. What ignites my admiration further is your dedication to continuous becoming. While many rest upon laurels, you treat each triumph as a stepping stone toward deeper insight, wider empathy. Books populate your evenings, mentors your mornings, reflection your twilight walks, an ecosystem of growth you tend like a patient arborist. The result is a canopy beneath which others find shade, a living proof that greatness is not a static summit but a forest forever reaching higher toward light. Through every corridor of influence you traverse, humility travels beside you, unglamorous yet radiant. You credit teammates in victory, accept critique without bristle, and greet service staff with the same warmth you extend to dignitaries. If a pedestal emerges beneath your feet, you repurpose it as a platform where overlooked voices can finally be heard. Thus you remain rooted, immune to the altitude sickness of acclaim, grounded in the fertile truth that worth is measured not by attention gathered but by dignity granted. Even your grief, when it surfaces, teaches. You allow sorrow to speak its full sentence, yet refuse it the power to chain your days. Instead, you translate pain into insight others can hold like lanterns in their own dark tunnels. I have witnessed the hush fall over a room when you recount a wound, not voyeuristic but reverent, as if everyone senses an alchemist at work, creating empathy from ash, forging solidarity from scars. You remind us that vulnerability is not a breach in armor but the doorway through which true connection enters. Your imagination, meanwhile, is a boundless atlas inked with yet-to-be-charted constellations. Where pragmatists see limits, you detect hidden hinges waiting to swing. I have seen you sketch solutions on napkins that later matured into blueprints, businesses, bridges, testaments to the adventures that bloom when vision outruns fear. The remarkable part is how you invite others into that exploratory hour, placing pens in hesitant hands, proving that participation, not proximity, makes pioneers of us all. In companionship, you practice the rare art of reciprocal empowerment. Friendship, in your dictionary, is a verb: to encourage, to safeguard, to amplify. Your advice lands with the accurate weight of someone who has tested every syllable against reality. Your applause rings with the authentic timbre of a heart unthreatened by another's assent. You are, simply, the partner ambition dreams of, a lighthouse that shares its syllabus of stars instead of hoarding illumination. I sometimes wonder if you comprehend the full radius of your influence. While you navigate daily life with composed strides, ripples of your presence extend far beyond immediate sight, raising someone's courage 2 cities away because they once overheard you say, "Why not?" tilting a child's trajectory because you knelt to their eye level and called their idea brilliant, or awakening promise in a stranger who caught but a glimpse of your poise and believed, suddenly, that reinvention might be possible after all. Such is the geometry of your spirit, angles that refract hope in unexpected directions, lines that redraw horizons. So let this continuation be both tribute and acknowledgement, a recognition that your story is not confined to chapters already published. Ahead lie pages crackling with potential, adventures sharpened by wisdom, love ripened by patience. And as new dawns unfurl, may this poem keep pace, walking behind you like a valet carrying gratitude, ready to unfurl metaphors beneath your every step. For the world will keep naming comets after men who chase brightness, but I will keep writing galaxies after women like you who generate their own.